All right, guys. My name is Dr. Sharnael Wolverton Sehan. Super excited to be here with my co-host Craig Walker, and we are here today to actually talk to Vivian. Vivian, say your last name.
Chauvet.
Shove. Oh, it's terrible. Chauvet.
Hey.
Chauvet.
So I actually had the pleasure of interviewing her with Laura Eisenhower a few weeks ago and connected with her. And I mean, she's just got a brilliant everything. And so super excited to have her on our show. And the topic for today is we're going to talk about healing frequencies, remote healing, attunement and getting our body in attunement through frequencies and energy. And I just think this is going to be a fun topic. I'm sure you guys are going to really enjoy this. So please do your due diligence and share this, get it out, and make sure that people can see it. And I also want to remind you guys, please, we are only doing this on YouTube now, YouTube, BitChute, and Rumble. So we are no longer going to be having all of our shows on Facebook. We're moving over. So if you haven't seen us and you've been wondering where we are, it's because we've moved over. So make sure and hit that subscribe button and make sure you're getting this notification. So when we do come on, you can move over, and we'll have more information on the show specifics. But basically, we're going to go every other week at noon on Thursdays, and we have lots of things lined up to bring to the table for you guys to learn and have fun and learn get some things. And super excited. Craig, you have anything to say about that?
Pardon me, I was just coughing there. Caught me off guard. No, I just I'm Sharnael, we've sort of connected, and you've really given me an opportunity to voice some things, on your show, and I'm really, really grateful, and all the amazing people you're introducing me to, like Vivian. I'm very grateful, and I'm deeply honored to do this with you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, we'll have more. Stay tuned on the show ideas, but for now, let's dive into this healing subject. Healing. Craig and I have been very fascinated, and our whole thing is love, truth, and healing. So, I see a lot of people in the medical industry who actually got there because they have more of a spiritual healing thing, and that they think, coming up in the programs of the world, that this is like the only avenue is going into this medical thing or some sort of spiritual, praying for people or what have you. But today we're going to go more into the spiritual, and definitely not in the get out their stethoscope and do all the x-rays and that kind of stuff. This is going to be spiritual x-rays. This is going to be sending frequencies. And what a better topic, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now. This is a great opportunity for us to remember our connection to source, and who is God, who is love, who is all the things, and including healing. And we are very capable of all this technology. It's in us. It's in our DNA. And today we're going to talk about that with Vivian. And Vivian, can you give us a little background about who you are and how you got into this whole vein of healing?
Absolutely. I want to thank both of you for having me. I've been looking forward to this. I can already feel our synergy building up. I know it's going to be a wonderful exchange. I want to keep it such a high vibes. I can feel that. So I just want to really say that out loud for everybody watching. Healing is such a huge umbrella, and we'll dive into it. So as you introduced me earlier, my name is Viviane Chauvet. I am internationally known as for my work as an Arcturian hybrid. So I am profoundly at a soul level, but also physically and genetically high Arcturian, also beautifully blended, constructed with some human aspects, so I can be functioning here, being able to talk and work with people. So what we do, I say we because I'm always in that telepathic, holographic communication with my Arcturian group, is that we really help bring people into a different form of healing oneself. And we talk about higher resonance of light. We're moving from a 3D medical field as we've known it, is giving us power over to an authority figure. a doctor, a specialist. So I see big orbs when I see that. I see orbs of light right now around me. They're like really active. So we're moving from this old paradigm of I know nothing of my body, and a specialist, a doctor with diplomas and white gowns and the whole 9 yards saying, I know more about you. And so let's see what my book or the training of medical field will tell me about your body. And I have respect for that because, we all go through that. Sometimes we need more practical 3D and then we go for it. But we're shifting into a more understanding of our body as an intelligent network, holistic network of consciousness and quantum communication, and how everything affects us to our repetition of our thought systems, belief patterns, even frequency in our environment can disrupt the natural balance of our body as an intelligent ecosystem. And we start to really going back to re-understand and rediscovering what the word healing at a huge umbrella really means. And if I may say so, I want to give you a very practical example of this. Okay. I recently just came back from a conference in Los Angeles, California.
The Conscious Life Expo.
Right on.
Yeah, sorry. Excellent.
Awesome. It was really interesting. Lots of learning curves. The example I'm taking from this conference is it brings in so many beautiful people and vendors and speakers and IDs. It's the collaboration, it's the bringing into a grid, a network of overlapping realities. So I am in my booth, right? And I'm doing Arcturian holographic transmission light energy and work with people. And the booths around me, one has this music going on, the other one has this technology kind of techno music, while the vendor behind is drumming their hearts away. And then we hear all kind of sound. So I am hyper sensitive to energy, and many of us are, consciously or unconsciously. So all this resonance of sound overlapping with each other, as a result, I start to feel heavy. I start to feel pressure on my ear, and then it was going into my throat. I'm thinking, if I let that happen, the overlapping of all this disharmonic sound will create physically a manifestation in my body in a form of a ear infection or a sore throat. And sure enough, it started to show. My body says, I'm saturated. So I have to do a lot of healing on myself and physically remove those disharmonic energy that I have absorbed hours after hours in the conference settings. I feel this is a prime example to understand the decoding. Where am I getting a sore throat from? Where? What has been spoken was painful. What were you exposed to? What you may have absorbed, that your body will take all this energy and create a physical solution for it. It says, okay, you're saturated, I'm going to shut down your throat, allowing that reset to take place, right? So when we talk about healing, is understanding and decoding the body's language, the body consciousness, that we are made of layers of light bodies, and your solar bodies of light, your energetic body, your golden web, everything is interconnected. Of course, this is something that traditional school teachings, 3D medicine had, is train the symptoms. This is a physical manifestation. We train the symptoms and it will go away. Perhaps it will. At the same time, did you understand what was the decoding? What was the message behind it?
Yeah.
Why understanding this? Because it helps you understand the mechanism of your own energy and being able to prevent moving forward from the same manifestation coming back again as a loop. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah, and the limbic system, I know in a physical, the limbic system will dump code between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. So, our reticular activating system will help us to focus more on things like if we see patterns, but as we bump around and have different experiences here on the planet, some of them aren't so great and some of them are wonderful. But when there's like any kind of trauma type situation, that limbic system basically takes the information. And if you don't dump it between 3 a.m. and 5, it like a librarian, and it'll take it and say, okay, we're going to put this here in this muscle or this organ or what have you. And it stores it until we're ready to move it out. The problem is, like you're saying with the medical, most of the programming that I ever came up on was to treat symptoms like you talked about. And that's just like unplugging, the light out of your car if you need an oil change. That doesn't deal with the fact that you still need oil. So what you're saying is there needs to be a recode, not just a quick Band-Aid fix or turn out this light, because eventually the car will explode if the root issue isn't taken out. You'll stay in that loop, and or the message gets louder. And what I love to do is encourage people to pay attention to these symptoms as messages, like you mentioned, and go, okay, what is the message here? What is it? What is the lesson? What do I need to change? What's something different? And it could be a DNA issue. It could be, something that's happened physically while we're here. But the good news is all of it is fixable. Everything's changeable if we're aware and we're willing. And, so talk about that a little bit. What is your process of decoding, recoding, shifting the energies?
Great question. Thank you. From an intergalactic perspective, we always work with someone from the point of perfection, that your body is, you're already in that state of perfection. So it's allowing to go backwards in a digging work, we call digging work, to understand where these roots come from. We always says nothing happened in the body as a response out of thin air, whether it's to the lymphatic system, the nervous system, whether it's the adrenals. What caused your adrenals to be overworked and then maybe put issue with your kidneys? That is more like their last result of understanding the decoding of how your body speaks to you. Is how did it get there? It can be something that is either past timelines related. Sometimes we see when we start to decode the understanding of the root source of an issue or a chronic loop, is that it can be a 50,000-year-old cycle that's coming back in that junction of point because the person at the soul level is at that junction to really clear that and resolve this, being able to bring it back in their Akash memories and move forward from this. So it's complex and at the same time so accessible. And I know that sometimes we speak a language, people say, well, you do this, you understand that. How can I help myself on a day-to-day? We always say, keep it simple. If something happened and you notice that you're more sensitive, let's say that since you were a child, you're sensitive to sound. Well, you know that your ear will be a point of entry. You know that right away that may be way things will start to manifest. If you're sensitive to energy, or you're very overthinking, overanalyzing to the mental, chances are you may disrupt your GI tract. Your stomach will take a hit. What is it is difficult to digest or even to eliminate from your life, resolve, that will affect your intestinal tract as well. I'm working with a beautiful lady right now where a lot of intestinal issues, well, it's deeply rooted on the unconscious field, more in terms of parent issues, and things that has been deep trauma that's playing out over and over, and the decoding has to be done in layers. It's the same thing when you mention, same thing if you look at a root issue, we cannot just go say, hey, we plug that roots out, everything will rearrange itself. There's a process behind it. Allowing yourself to simply allowing a more natural resonance of health coming back to you and resolving this at the source point. Sometimes it will be very quick, another time it will be a longer process. Regardless of what you need is appropriate for you, I always says, let's do it with compassion to yourself, to the process, knowing that you're investing in you. What is the most magnificent, powerful investment when you invest in you? Because now you can be more and more and more a higher and eventually a highest version of yourself. This is how you change your world and their world around you. It's an aspect of it by ripple effects. So the decoding can take many places, whether it's the soul level, soul fractals, the oversoul, the soul group that person comes from. Now, especially with Star Seed, the soul group will have an impact on them of how they carry certain trait or characteristic or sensitivity, things that will be manifested in their lives. So we work with the person again, always to the point of we see you in your true light, and then we go from there to understand how did you come to that point, what took place, and then we work with you. So it's especially right now, there's a lot of changes going on into the world. There's a lot of global changes. So what are you connecting to? If you connect too much into the narrative, the global awareness, there's a lot of change. People want to absorb everything, all of the changes inside of themselves and around themselves, and they become oversaturated. And I've seen at a conference where I can feel people like they're filled with like oversaturated by layers, whether it's information or they're overstimulated, many ideas, concepts, and they go like, well, I get confused. Well, yes, because there's too much. Where are you in all of this? Where are you in your truth? Where are you in your own energy? This is why we always lovingly recommend, in case of doubt, anything in life, come back to your light. Anchor yourself back into your inner light. Breathe into your inner sacred space and let the excess of all these layers to be peeled off, release them back to the light for transmutation, and find back what I call energetic reset. Come back to your center. Now you can ask different questions. Now you can be able to approach your health, healing, plan, action in a different way. And sometimes I can see that even with clients when we do the healing, they're like absolutely amazed. And 2-3 days or week, 2 weeks later, they go like, I am worse than I was. What's going on? And it didn't work. And they get all entangled. And I said, no, you're in a point of emergence. You can tell there's a point of emergence coming up in you, and you simply got temporarily caught up, entangled in that aspect of it was clearing out. You become identified to it, and you go, oh, that's right. Now I can see it. And you take a step back to realize what is the process is showing me while I'm in the process of deep purging and cleansing, whether it's trauma, whether it's pattern, whether it's fragmented aspect of self. And I can see like bubble coming to the surface. And I always says, just let them, observe them, understand that this is part of your clearing. There's no need to re-identify yourself over and over to these aspects, if that makes sense, right?
I was just, while you were talking there, I was just thinking to myself how certainly in the three-dimensional, your standard medical practice, how often people identify as their ailment. For example, a person will identify as a diabetic or whatever, and I think that's if, certainly from the subconscious level, is actually manifesting what they don't, not their highest best. Would you agree that it's important that in order to manifest healing in ourselves and in others, is to see our default position as fully healed and whole? And if there's any symptoms that contradict that, we look at the reasons why it's there. And as you're saying, I mean, I think back to, I remember reading Dolores Cannon. I assume you know who Dolores Cannon is, and in her hypnotherapy would get to the root issues of their ailment. So, for example, somebody had a really bad back, a sore back, and she will get to the root issue of the fact that they were carrying very heavy emotional baggage, and it was affecting their lower back. And so she would deal with that root issue, and they'd come out the hypnotherapy completely healed. And I think that's kind of relates with what you're saying in that. We need to re-identify with the fact that our bodies are perfectly designed organic entities, and we need to remember that we are perfectly whole, and if there's anything contradicting that, to love yourself enough to get to the root of it. Well, does that make sense? Does that
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of relate to what you were saying? Yeah, yeah.
Beautifully said. Absolutely beautiful. And it is so true, which is exactly why when someone comes to us, whether it's in the group setting or private, we see you from that point of wholeness.
Mm.
So when I avoid certain wording like fixing or things like that, there's nothing to fix. It's simply a return into that higher point. And you talk about the subconscious, which is already a big point. We always work with these subconscious archives because from there, there's another level of consciousness we can work with and really identify. It's almost like identify networking, wiring of networking of intertwined belief system patterns, values, core values that has been absorbed and accepted by others. And then it becomes intermingled with the person way of thinking on a conscious level, whether it's a subconscious, and it really influences how they perceive themselves. What is it they're capable of doing, accomplishing, what is accessible or what seems to be inaccessible. And that's another point. So when we work with the body template, we do a lot of work to the spinal column because the spinal column tells the history. We can go as far as we need to be into the history, which is transcend this lifetime. It can be other expression. And I can tell, and after time we bring codes of activation to the spinal column because those codes or algorithm of light speak exactly the language that is attuned to that person at the time, not just on a physical level to the body consciousness, but also to the person at a level of consciousness they are evolving in. What is the blueprint they're in right now? So it's really fascinating when we start to really understand the deeper mechanism of what we really are capable of achieving. So, complete self love. Do you accept yourself? Are you authentic to who you are? Are you the physical embodiment of your authenticity? Sometimes I hear very gifted people telling me, oh, well, I'm the weirdo of the family. I'm just a weird one. And then the first question I ask, how attached are you to this label? Oh, I've just got used to it. No, no. The question is, how attached are you to the label? And I really get them thinking deeper. It opens something else and said that that label was given to you by a tribe, whether you call it your family, whether it's your adoptive family, whether it's a group of colleagues or friends, whatever tribe or connection, this label was given to you. When you say, okay, I'll put in my abstract field, it's part of the subconscious, and now this is who I am. I'm a weirdo. But what does it mean? How attached are you to this? Because this label has impact vibrationally, emotionally, mentally, all of the above, even on a quantum level, that label has a very significant as an impact on you. So this is also part of when we do the soul coaching, the verbal guidance we're giving is just as important as the work itself because it starts right there is allowing the person already just by the guidance, the consultation to already step out of a certain paradigm or realizing they go, oh, that's right, I am in that paradigm. I just got used to it, right? And we hear that a lot. And the reason why we're sharing that today, since topic is healing, which I absolutely love, it's because even on the planetary level, to culture, to background, to changes. We're moving away from what we got used to and we were accommodating ourselves to live by. This is no longer sufficient. We are transcending that and demanding more. It says, wait a second, there's more, and I ask, I claim it. That's why I also tell clients, I said, and people overall, whatever we share is, I always expect more. What else life has in store for you? Expect a blessing. You said yes to the journey. You said yes to the path. Well, you also, yes, with the blessing, yes, it comes with challenges because your soul understood that those are opportunity for you to reach a level of enlightenment. And at the same time, the blessings, the encoded of the blessings comes with your path. Remember that you also said yes to that. And that triggers other things. It shifts the perception going, oh, that's right. There's more to it. I said, yes, there is. And you will see that more. I really feel truly in my being that this year, 2022, as my intergalactic group call it, it's a year of emergence. There's something about 2022 overlapping into as a bridge to 2023 that is really a year of emergence. Not right now, we understand there's a process still going on. Because as we reach a level, I would say about May on, especially when we reach the second half of the year, there's another wave coming in. I keep seeing it. I can see this wave of light coming in. I can perceive it. And I'm holding that space for everyone, every life form, everything on this planet. I'm holding that space that there's something about this year that we're reaching another momentum. I'm sure you may have yourselves have perceived it to some in your own ways.
Well, I mean, that's so beautiful. One of the things, I think what Craig was also touching on too is it's like, yes, we're on the verge, and that's like freaking them out too. So it's like they're having to up their game, whoever they are, with 5G, these commercials. Oh my gosh, the commercials talk about subliminal whatever. I mean, they're not even subliminal. They're like straight up, narratives happening of, saying like how to manage your diabetes, cancel clear. It's like, so, and they're all sifted in between whatever late night TV. So if you're going to sleep to that, and then the subconscious is, programming, oh, you have this, you have this, you have this. These are the things that you have. And then it's just insane. But
yes.
so, but I like how you refer to the whole already being whole, because my book actually, I don't have to send it to you, but the Science of Miracles, the under part is remembering the frequency of love, and that word remember to me is to be as one with God again, to remember, to come back not only with God, in God, but as a collective too. We are as one, and when we are in that whole state of who God is, who is actually just love, love with love, there is wholeness, and there's definitely healing because you're whole. And so it's not, even if when I walk through clients and, I'll say, well, what's your outcome? And they'll say something like, well, I just want to learn to be, to learn to be healed or learn this or whatever. And I'll say, just how about just change up your language a little bit, which changes the code. And we could say, why don't you just say out loud, I learned how to drive. And then they'll repeat it. I learned how to drive. And then I'll say, now just say, I remember driving. And they'll say out loud, I remember driving. And I'll say, well, which one's faster? Like energetically. And always they come back, and the remembering is instant because it's from the inside out versus some hard thing. We associate learning with, something difficult and studying and like a test versus just, no, this is in our DNA already. We were born for this. This is what we do. And so I think what I'm hearing you saying too is it's with the remembering. If it's already there, it's just removing any blocks that would keep the body and the emotions to physically do what it's meant to do already. But the different, whether it's layers of programming or experiences or even DNA loops, that we get those patterns. And I'll give you a quick example is I had went to the doctor after having several miscarriages. And when I went to go see Dr. Lucky, I was on my fourth miscarriage, and I had named him, it was a boy, and I had named him Samuel. And when I went, he picked up a pattern and he was asking about my grandmother, if she had ever lost a baby. And I called my mom. She had no knowledge of it, and she was like, no, my mom is the third child. And my mom was like, no, it's just three of us, it's always been us, or whatever. And for some reason, I felt to call my grandmother. So I called my grandmother. I'm like, I know this is strange and maybe sensitive, and but there wasn't ever any miscarriage or anything, whatever. Turns out she did have a child, a fourth child. It was a boy, and it passed right after it was delivered. And my mom was so little that nobody, I guess, knew what was going on. And anyway, it was a boy, and she named him Samuel.
Oh my God.
And so here I was trying to, I was caught up in the pattern at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a revolving DNA code that was still there. I had no knowledge of her having a baby or having a son named Samuel, but here something in me was doing this, and we were able to clear it. So hopefully that won't go into, because anything I clear in me will clear into the DNA of every child I have, and it will clear for other people as well, because all those kids are still in me, and any connection or partners that we have. So all the work is inside out. But I think this is what you're saying, is like this clearing, recoding, and how we can get caught up in these loops. But we can change the loops too. It's just like the GPS. If you have the right code to get to that address, if you put in 1112 Love Street, then you're going to get to 1112 Love Street. But if you have the wrong address, 222 Love Street, then you're not going to get to the same address. So it's really about remembering God's code and the code that's already here, right? I mean, can you speak a little bit into that?
Of course, beautifully. Thank you for sharing what your experience is. I can really feel the energy of you, all these beautiful souls, your grandmother. And right away, what I saw is to your generational line, at the soul level, you knew when you came in that generational line to help to heal and release that pattern or that code. So at the soul level, this is why I started right away. If you look at your grandmother, you're the third generation, and you're the one who came in clear the lineage, past, present, and future in that sense. So, bless your heart for doing this, because I started right away when you were talking. So yes, really, I mean, it's just, that's the thing. It's like, for me, there's like a screen, and I will, when you share something about yourself, like just right now, I could feel and go through the journey, like I'm with you in time, and I can see it. So this is why I saw that you're the soul who came in that generation line to be able to clear it to the code. So thank you so much. Absolutely. That's a prime example of this. And after time, we will see that where souls come back in specific, what we call generational line or ancestral line, and they come understanding that they will carry certain imprint, trauma, or codes in themselves, but they know that it will be the one, there will be the one generation that will clear it for moving forward, and it goes in all directions. That's the beauty of this work. And you have also, it brings us back to the fact that ultimately we are all interconnected. What you do affect me, affect you, affect everything. If we have the power of one soul clearing your ancestral lineage or generational lines like you've done, imagine how we are affecting each other on a day-to-day. Even if I'm in Arizona, USA, and like you are all the way to England, it makes no difference. We are still part of the same resonance field with each other. So we are impacting one another. And I see that the ripple effect that we are creating, in fact, our thought forms. Now, what you think about something, your thought forms infused with emotions and belief systems create and generates waves and waves and waves of energy, and it carries through beyond the earth. So what I've been shown and I witnessed myself is that all these beautiful intergalactic groups, the enlightened ones who are here to assist our star family, or They are helping to clear out all of these field of energy that the earth transmit like a radio, like a cell phone tower, to prevent other planets and other places to receive this transmission. They're constantly monitoring that. So just to illustrate the power that we carry within ourselves, your mind, not the brain, but your mind carry a lot of power in itself in terms of co-creation and co-manifestation. So your thoughts has also an impact on your health because it's direct vibration in what you say to your own voice. The power of your divine channel of communication impact all of your cells, your organ, the vibration. It can harmonize your body or it can disharmonize it just by even speaking. How do you speak about yourself? Which is why asking about the labels, like we talked about earlier, I'm a weirdo, but that's an impact on you directly and affect your entire ecosystem. Same thing with your thoughts. If it can affect your health in the body, it affects everyone and everything around you. Imagine the power that you harness within you. This is why right now we're moving more and more into what's called a reversal of thought system. We are untraining ourselves from what we have learned from very specific three-dimensional educational system. You know, whether you are just high school or you went to your PhD, it's part of the same structure,
Yep.
right? Whether it's the medical field, whether it's the societal archetypes, belief systems, we have been programmed in a certain way. Now we are deprogramming ourselves and finally finding ourselves home back to our own divinity and so, oh my goodness, my body has been with me all this time and being very faithful, supporting me, creating solutions. Even a fever can be a solution to an emotional trauma or something I went through. The body says, oh, you need time to regenerate. I'm going to disconnect you. And then something happened that says, why is this happening? What opportunity this fever is giving you? Now, of course, if it's getting out of hand, there's such a thing of having an appropriate response to it. All I'm saying is that to be present, to be more present right here, right now, to understand what is really happening in my internal reality, which has helped me understand what's happening in my other reality. And I just saw a big blue orb of radio blue light when I say that. You go like, oh yes.
Oh, they're agreeing with you.
Oh yes, it's like there's energy everywhere. And so this is why I always, my messages, our messages, I know our, is always going to be centered to empowerment, inspiration, giving you also the opportunity to rediscover who you are and who we are as a collective, who we are for each other. And I respect to where you are at a level of consciousness you're evolving into. And I can see, already perceive a much, much higher potential. We can already perceive where this is heading to. And it starts right here, right now, every day. It really is. So same thing with your healing. So what is your healing today? What label are you ready to let go of? Love what you both share about publicity, TV, advertisement, your health issue, your this, your that. You become identified to this. So you say, yeah, I accept this embodiment and I bring it in with me. What is the reverse? Like, okay, as a child, I experienced asthma, let's just say. That is different from saying I am asthmatic or, asthma is part of who I am.
Yeah,
I
or
experience, right?
the whole the ADHD thing
Oh,
and depression thing. It's like, oh, my depression, my anxiety, my ADHD. It's like trendy, and that whole identifying thing. Cancel, clear all of that off of me. I'm fine, but I'm just saying, don't. It seems very very trendy, like it's like cool to have to identify with those things.
I have to say this. I've found that a lot of people identify these things in these things almost for sympathy. Like there's a deeper rooted issue that like there's a childhood need there for love, and sometimes they will project illness so people will care for them. I've seen that a lot with people. And again, the root is always some sort of trauma. I just wanted to be, I can see the time, we're coming to the end already. I mean, this is just flowing beautifully. But I think it's really, really important to realize that it's no, what's the word? It's no surprise that the biggest battle we've faced over the past couple of years has been in healthcare, and all to do with health and wholeness and the medical world. And it's quite shocking. I mean, I'm into this sort of stuff, but I didn't realize just how deeply the medical world controlled the world. These big pharma companies, and they have been a part of the programming. I mean, they basically they own media, they own governments. And I mean, if you really want to delve into it, it goes way back to the Rockefellers have set this up to be this way, because they know that our physical, spiritual, and emotional health literally defines our whole existence, because we are the creators of our own reality. So if we're suffering in some way, then we become dependent on them, and that's what they want. They want us to be dependent on them. But when we reharness our power and we say, I am healthy, I am whole, I choose health and wholeness now, we realize we don't need them anymore. And I'm not criticizing the healthcare services, because in the three-dimensional world, it has had benefits. A quick example would be, when my daughter was little, my other youngest daughter stabbed her in the eyeball with a pencil, and it stuck in it. And I mean, we were devastated. We thought she was going to lose her eye. So we rushed her to hospital. They did surgery, has perfect vision. It didn't affect her at all in that respect. So I'm grateful for the medical services that we've had. However, as we're ascending and as we're growing as a species and maturing, those systems no longer serve us. And so they're crumbling, and it's kind of been pushed out into the open. And I think talking like this, having these sort of conversations, will really help people realize that we have the power to heal ourselves and others. Like you said, when we get this, and just having this conversation is pumping this out into the field, and people will pick up on this. And I think it's certainly in the time that we're in now, this is a really crucial talk to have, and I really appreciate both of you for having this knowledge and experience and putting it out there. So thank you very much. I'm really grateful to you both.
I know Vivian wants to say something. I'm just going to jump in. When you mentioned the whole victim thing, that's a real deal. And with my patients, and I know Dr. Lucky does this, this is how I learned it, is he always tests before he even sees someone and says, do you actually choose to be healed? And if it comes back no, then we try to get an answer, because some people just don't want to be healed. Or do you think that you deserve to be whole? Is another question that we'll ask secondly, because what's the point of trying to help someone and do whatever if they're just going to self-sabotage the whole thing? So to get into the understanding or the knowledge, energy of, well, where did that come from? Where did that belief come from? Why do you choose to be a victim? Why do why don't you think you deserve to be healed? And then try to reverse engineer from that point. So by the end, it's cleared, and you can go ahead and start the clearing process. But yeah, we're gonna definitely have to do another show. But Vivian, what were you gonna say about it?
Yeah, thank you so much, both of you. Great input. It's true. I feel like we were in a time warp. You see how everything just flew? It's incredible. Love our synergy, and I would love to be back. So thank you for saying that. I was simply observing that great analogy of allowing more fluidity of change. The 3D aspect of whether it's medical, especially the medical field, has served to a point where we are now shifting into claiming our sovereignty as being, we're understanding we are internal souls of light. There's no longer as much a deep identification to the human persona, and appreciating all of your experience that this earth has to offer, to your senses, to your physical body, to your presence here. So I feel like it's a time to bring in a higher perspective and bring it back into more completion. We're simply shifting, allowing the structure around, in and around, to shift and accept. I am shifting into a higher version of myself, which brings all of my gift, my memories, my connections to my DNA, to my inner divinity. And I understand now that I am returning to that point of identification and being able to navigate through the changes with more ease. And let's go of the attachment. Let's make it more fluid. We're simply shifting anew. And remember that we have a lot of guidance protections. We have a lot of groups. We have a lot of resources available to us. So it's step into, it is time to embrace fully that new paradigm. And it's like, who's in? Huh? I'm in, right? Yeah.
I'll agree to that.
Definitely, for sure. Well, I think too, going back to just the thought process and belief systems, if we remember healing, or even saying someone's a healer, by definition, saying that means that someone has to do something to get the person there. And so, I don't even like saying like, oh, this person's a healer or whatever. For me, it's like I can maybe coach or facilitate shifts in someone for someone to remember their own healing. But I don't like to, just recently with with the show we're doing, the producer was like, well, let's, what are you? Who are you? Would you call yourself a healer? And I'm just like, no, because that sounds like work. That sounds like I got to do something to expend energy to help some, although I believe in it, in the transmuting of things and the movement of energy, and it is
laying on of hands.
yeah. But I like to ignite people into their own sovereignty, and it's faster to help people be ignited into their own truth, love, healing, thriving. And even saying decrees like that I ignite Christ in everyone I contact. I ignite love in everyone I contact, versus I help people, I heal people. It's like, that sounds like such a job instead of a purpose or a mission. So yeah, but how can we find you, Vivian? We're gonna have to have you back for sure. So we'll look into some part twos here. But how can everyone find you that's watching and connect with you until then?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. One of the best ways, the website, infinitehealingfromthestars.com, infinitehealingfromthestars.com. Everything is there. As of right now, our service, we're always shifting. We're always moving. We have also a beautiful copper star based on the 10-star technology my husband makes. It's incredible. Really helps you with our conscious energy tool more than meets the eyes. The website is really the best way. We also have a YouTube channel where I offer monthly free meditation. We have a podcast. We have all kinds of resources there as well. Viviane Chauvet, Galactic Healer. I put that name years ago because I like the sound of it. But we are accelerators of your own journey, and this is how we see ourselves. So it's been absolutely amazing, that our synergy. You see how fluid and
it really
beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, such an amazing flow. And that is also that flow. It's greatly healing and inspirational for people. So thank you for both of you.
Thank you.
Craig?
Well, people can find me on Facebook. I'm to those that don't know, I am a drummer in a band called Nth Ascension. Do check us out. Things are picking up again with that. With all the COVID situation is kind of dying off. The gigs can happen now. I also run a UK-based crystal shop with my wife, crystalfalls.co.uk. Do check us out. I have a meditation music channel, Ascension Meditation. I must get you a link, Sharnael, to put that on my bio. Just connect. I love connecting and talking to people. I mean, I love these conscious conversations. Thank you very much to both of you.
Well, thank you both. It's been so lovely, and I just appreciate you so much, both of you, for everything that you brought here and just your energy being here. And what I'm believing is that people, as they're watching this and engaging, and even if it's just a snippet while they're walking through a room, that they hear this, that something ignites their DNA, and that there is a healing even through this episode, and that people will actually feel a tangible difference or feel something lift. If they had that heavy energy, maybe it's lifted off. And you guys be aware of that as you're listening and watching, and see if you feel different. I'd love to hear your reports and your miracles. And anyway, I love all of you watching, and I appreciate you guys so much, and love you too so much. And thank you for your commission here on this planet as we play and remember together. And yes, it has gone by very, very fast. So we will get back together. Yes. But you can find me at swiftfire.org. And there's all kinds of resources there, my books, my classes. And we are here every other week on Thursdays for our show together too. So more to come. Stay tuned, and y'all do your due diligence and share and get this out, so you never know who may be listening, and this is something that can help them to get through the day. I talked to someone even 2 days ago, because going back to this marketing thing, the guy was just, it's like, who's helping with this, who's helping with that, and he was like, oh well, marketing. And I was like, this is not marketing to me. This is connection with people. This is, please understand where I'm coming from. I don't give a crap about whatever, but I had just got off the phone with someone who's literally, her husband had passed earlier in the month, and she was living in her car with her 3 dogs because she was evicted from her home, and all she had was her cell phone to watch our shows and to be on Facebook. And so you guys never know who, is commenting and who's posting what their situation is at home. And for me, it's not about marketing. It's about connecting to anyone who's out here who's really looking for connection and for support in this time. This is a crazy time right now. And, people are really, really looking to remember truth and love and encouragement and courage and strength in these times. And I just really encourage everybody to just be very aware of not only the energies, that it may not be you feeling crazy, but you're just picking up on things, and or when you're out and about, whether it's on social media platforms and or out in real world, like gas stations, stores, whatever, smile at people, and have your, remember God in you and the creator of you, and even envision with everything that you're doing, that you're touching people and you're helping people and you're blessing people and you're smiling and waving and whatever. You just have no idea what people are going through, and including everyone who does what we're doing. Like, there's all kinds of backstories that I could get on and tell you that are real life things that are not super fun, that that all of us go through, and we may get out here and smile and then get off and cry. So I'm telling you, this is a time for us to really support one another and love well in this season, and just really be a light and a support, and for everyone in humanity right now during this shift. And I just cannot stress that as much as I can. I know I love all of you. And blessings to everything that we are doing as one. No matter what you are doing, it's important who you're with and where you are, and how you're doing it is really important. So just be aware and love well, and we'll talk soon. We'll talk again.
Beautiful.
All right.
Much love.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.